Well, thank you. We've had a good off-season. Spring ball has gone very well for us. Able to get some work in some key spots that we need to develop. According to our strength coach, he's really excited about the way the summer's gone. Great enthusiasm. All of our scholarship players and most of our walk-ons have stayed in Lawrence to participate in the program. He's very excited about what's taking place. Thursday is the last workout, and then the players will go home for a week, and then we will get back on August the 6th and begin training camp. And we're looking forward to it with a lot of enthusiasm and great expectations that we have as coaches and as players for this year's team. So we're looking forward to it.
Okay, Coach, thank you. Questions, we'll start up here on the front left. Again, your name and affiliation, and we'll go over to the right.
Mike Jones with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Mark, the quick book on Kansas is great offense, suspect defense. Is that an accurate look? If not, what are we missing?
Well, just like everything else, there's speculation that that's what it will be. I think we will have a chance to have pretty good offense, no question about that. But I think our defense will be better than a lot of folks outside of our program think. I like what we're doing. I think our defensive line has a chance to be pretty good. I think for the first time in a long time, I think we will have some natural pass rushers that can help put pressure on the quarterback, which is something that we've lacked. We are going to have some new linebackers, but 3 years ago we lost all three linebackers, and things worked out. And I think at this point in time we're probably a little bit more athletic, maybe, with the kids that were working at linebacker than maybe we've been in the past when you talk top to bottom. The secondary for us, we return a great player in Darryl Stuckey. You have a veteran guy that can play two positions, and Justin Thornton can play corner or safety for you. Damon Patterson returns after playing as a true freshman at corner. We have Philip Strozier, who's been a nickel back for us for a long time, Chris Harris. So I think the only area that is going to be a little bit inexperienced is the linebackers. But we've been down this road before, and I feel really good about the approach those kids have taken, and I feel really comfortable with Bill Miller coaching them as well.
Question on the right-hand side against the wall.
Mark, Tim Griffin from ESPN.com. Obviously, when you recruited Todd back in high school, there weren't a lot of other people that were looking at him. I just wonder if you can talk about how far he's come and the development he's made since he's been in your program over the course of his career there.
Sure. Todd, Todd was overlooked by most programs. There's no question. But he's a case in point, where some kids would pout about that and feel bad for themselves and say, they got a bad break in life. Hey, he and his dad jumped in the car and they went and visited schools that had an interest in him. And he went and sell himself. And he did a good job of selling himself to me, because when he showed up, and I met him for the first time in our office in the summer of, 2003, 4? I can't even remember. But anyhow, he was still a senior in high school. He really had this swagger about him. I mean, when he shook my hand, he looked me right in the eye. He was full of energy. He was intelligent. He could speak on subjects other than just football. And he had a bounce in his step. And I've told this story before. He went on a campus tour with one of our administrative staffers. So the coaches came down to my office to ask me what I thought of him, because I'd already watched the tape. And I can almost quote, I said, he's small. He's really small. But I like him. And if we can get him, let's get him. let's squeeze him a little bit. And I just liked him. There was just something about him that he exuded confidence, and he was just like a stick of dynamite. And as Paul Harvey says, you know the rest of the story.
Got a question on the aisle up on the left. You're fine where you are. He's bringing the microphone to you.
Skylar Dixon with the Associated Press. Following up on that, can you talk specifically about how much he has meant, the kinds of things he's done over the last few years, and how important he is this year?
Well, when we started out at KU, when I first arrived, we had a good junior college quarterback by the name of Bill Whittemore who did some really good things for us. He was a little bigger than Todd, but not much. But he was able to give us a little bit of a jump start when we were really bad. But then he had some injuries and wasn't able to finish one of the seasons. And after that, we kind of just went on a merry-go-round, injury after injury. I can't even tell you. I asked Mike Strauss one time to see how many quarterbacks have started for us during that period, and we still can't nail down how many different guys. I do remember this. We played a wide receiver that never played a down of college football in his life at quarterback and played him in Lincoln, Nebraska, against Nebraska. It was the closest thing to coaching suicide that you could imagine. I mean, we didn't have anybody left. And it was just one of those things. We didn't have stability at the quarterback position. What Todd has brought to us is stability at that position. And not only stability, but excellence. And he has gotten better every year because he works at it. He studies tape. He takes his time away from the game field seriously when he's in meeting rooms and when he's, in the practice field. He's been able to spark our offense. He's been able to ad-lib at times, which is good once in a while, but sometimes he likes to ad-lib a lot, and we have to pull him back in. We have to reel him back in a little bit. But that's what makes him unique. The idea that he believes in himself and that he can make plays when there's not one kind of really reflects his personality, that he always thinks he can overcome. He always wants to prove the opposition wrong. Those traits have served him well. But he's an important part of our team. He's brought stability and excellence to a position that must be good. As I said earlier today, the quarterback is the chauffeur. If you don't have a chauffeur, the car doesn't move. He's the guy that makes it roll.
Question on the right side, about three-quarters of the way back.
Jason Jenks, University Daily, Kansas. When talking with some former players, Coach, they said toughness is something that you pride your teams on having. How much emphasis do you place on having a tough team, and why is that such an important part of the program?
Well, I can't say that I set out every day to do things to make them tougher. I think it's a mindset and it's a mentality. The second part of your question, why is it important? Well, football's a tough game. If you're not tough mentally and physically, you can't play this game. It's for tough, competitive people. And also, having coached at other schools in the conference before I went to Kansas, the label on Kansas was they weren't very tough. So if I was going to be the coach at Kansas, I was used to being around tough football teams. We were going to have to be tougher. And it's not, you don't ask the kids to be tougher. It's not that you shout and holler and tell them they got to be tougher and get after them. No, you hold them to a high standard. You finish every drill. You finish every play. When you think you don't have anything else, you're able to give a little bit more. When things are tough, in a tight game, the guy that's mentally tough will stand up and make plays. The guys that pull themselves out of drills because they're tired, you don't want them on the field at the end of the game when it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. You can't win with them. And our kids, they meet those high standards, and it helps develop toughness. Plus, we like to recruit tough kids. Sometimes we fail in that area, but we like kids that love to play this game. I think if you love to play football, the toughness is there. And that's what we get, kids that love to play the game.
Got a question on the aisle, about halfway back on the right.
Hey, Mark, Blair Kirkhoff with the Kansas City Star. Just, you talk about the significance of consecutive bowl seasons, and, what does that say about the direction of the program and the future of the program?
Well, it means we're going in the right direction. That's the key thing. We're moving in the positive direction. We're getting better all the time, and that's what we've set out to do. Now, to be very honest, we're not where we want to be. We want to be a team that competes for championships and be among the best teams in the Big 12. And we're not there yet. We're headed that way, but we're not there. And the only way you do that is you have to consistently win, and you have to be able to beat what are the best teams in your league. You have to start doing that. For us to really, there's other steps to take, but for us to really get where we want this program to be, we have to start winning against teams that are considered the elite teams in the league and beat them, from time to time.
Question on the rear right.
Randy Riggs, Austin American-Statesman. Mark, could you talk a little bit about the transition for Angus Quigley to linebacker, how he's adjusted to that? Do you feel like he's comfortable and found a home there?
Sure. Yeah, Randy, Angus is a very talented young man, but it's my job as a coach to put talented kids in positions on the field that they have the greatest chance of having success. We've used Angus at running back quite a bit, and if Angus was playing Division II or Division III, he would be a really good running back because he's big and strong and could probably just muscle people. But at this level, he really doesn't fit the mold that we're looking for a running back. But he's talented. We're talking a guy that's 6'3", 230, runs very well. And we just felt like, hey, maybe a linebacker position might suit him. Now, we threw him in there, we threw him to the wolves, so to speak, because we only have so much time to get ready. But it seemed in spring ball that every day he got a little better. He learned more and more. He gained confidence. And I think he will help us at that position. I do. And he wanted to do it. I think he saw the running back situation and, he hadn't had much success at it. So he was anxious to tackle a new challenge too. And he's taken it on with a very good attitude and wanting to be a good linebacker for us.
Any further questions for Coach?